Welcome, amazing agents from across the country. Today is Wednesday, January 2nd, 2019, and this is Role Play Call number 38. Happy New Year to all of you. I appreciate you being here. We've got a great turnout. We just need some participation. Hit star 6 and hit 1. Anything you want to say before we get started, Chad?
I'll just disclaimer, if I disappear, it's because I went on mute for a coughing break. I'm still not over this completely, so.
That's coughing, not coffee break, right?
Right.
All right. Hope y'all have avoided the flu that's going around Florida, because virtually everyone I know has it, and I think I gave it to my partners and our whole company at our last meeting. So there's an early Christmas present for y'all. You do sound a lot better, though, Chad. If you start coughing, I'll try to fill in the best that I can. All right, Tom, anything you want to say?
Nope, I'm good to go.
All righty. Well, we have one person in the queue, guys. Please hit star 6 and hit 1. We have up to an hour for this call, so please don't be shy as far as participating. And our first person up is phone number ending in 2382. You're up first.
Okay, so I accidentally pressed the 6 and the 1 to get in the queue. I was multitasking. I don't have a question, but I'd be more than willing to volunteer if you want to use me as a guinea pig. But I didn't have a specific question. My apologies.
Oh, that's okay. This is Paula, right?
Yes.
Hey, Paula, have you started making your calls yet? The executors?
I have, and I've gotten 2 listings.
Wow, that's awesome. So maybe tell us is there anything in particular, because you're relatively new, I know. Is there anything in particular that's working well for you as far as your conversations? Anything you want to share?
I think that I just really keep it simple.
Okay.
And, really I feel a lot more confident since I, had gotten my certificate and went through that 3-day session. So I really just call people and, I just open up and say, hey, this is Paula Taylor. I'm calling to see if you received the information I sent you about the estate of blah, blah, blah. Oh, yes, I got it. Or, yes, I got it. I put it in the trash. Or no, I didn't get it. And then the first thing I say is, fantastic. Well, I wanted to know if there's any way that I can help you. And then I go through, the script about all that we do. And then I say at the end, by the way, do you have a home that needs to be sold as well? And sometimes they say yes, and sometimes they say no. Some of them say, oh, I got your information, and I'm not ready yet. I'm waiting for my letter of testamentary. I put it in the file. Someone says, oh, my God, I'm so glad you called. I threw it away, but you sound like a nice lady. Come see me. And then some people say, I don't need any help. We're not selling. So whatever way it goes, I just kind of roll with it, but always push to get the appointment.
Excellent.
So Paula, just for the benefit of others, how does the reception that you've experienced on the phone, how does that compare to what you expected?
Okay, so I used to pay $378 a month for Vulcan, and I called expireds and FISBOs. I no longer have Vulcan because everybody is just so, that if they don't want you to be bothered, they'll be like, you know what, we got it taken care of, but thank you so much, for calling. And then I'll say, okay, well, that's fine, but do me one favor before I let you go. If you need me for any reason, you promise you give me a call, even if you don't have a home to sell. And they're like, oh, that's really sweet of you. And every time I get somebody on the phone, I send them a handwritten note just saying, thank you for your time. Here's my card if I can help you. But everybody is really sweet. And one gentleman, he has a $1.6 million listing, and he says, I promise I'm going to give you this listing. I just need another 30 days. So, they're just so sweet, and they're so nice. Some of them are a little grouchy. Some of them were a little sad around the holiday, I noticed. Like one guy said, this is my son's estate, and I just don't want to talk about it. And I could hear the pain in his voice. and I told him I was sorry for his loss, and I let him go.
Mhm. So why are you doing really of all the ways you can make money in real estate? Why did you choose this one?
Because, and I did pretty well. I sold 30 houses last year, and this is my 4th year as an agent. And my average home is about $300,000. But I did it for one reason. One, I was tired of getting beat up. But the biggest reason why I did it, Chad, was because I wanted a duplicatable, referral-based business. And I felt as though probate was the way that I could do it. And that's the reason why I went with Probates. And I was just blessed to have found you when I was, on the internet doing whatever it is I do, because I never heard of all the leads. It just kind of like popped up, and I was just blessed because of it.
So where I was trying to lead you, where I expected it to go, most people that have the experience you're having really understand empathy, and they really and I heard that in what you were role playing to us. So you're focusing on the people and their situation, and you're reacting accordingly. You're not relying on a script. If you feel pain, you back off. If you feel apprehension, you ask better questions. And that's what I wanted to kind of the lesson of that is the people that really get themselves in an empathetic position and understand what these people are going through almost always get the reception that you've gotten. And even if they rub somebody the wrong way, they don't get completely blasted, because it comes through in your tone of voice and the words you choose, like when you're really doing this for the right reasons. And I bet if I ask it a different way, there's probably a deeper reason that you chose this than just building a referral business, because it's a different skill set. But I mean, anyways, I think that you definitely have the right approach. Like, you're focusing on the people and then work into the real estate conversation. And that's probably why you're getting such a warm reception. And I put you on the spot because so many people, when they're first getting started, they go straight to real estate like they would on FSBO or expired, and they get slapped or they get hung up on, and then they just say, well, that doesn't work. But your approach is unique and what we teach, and I think that's why you're getting such good results on so early on.
Yeah. So if you ask me what my big why is, if you will, right, to take a page from Keller, I would say this really to be of service, because I really think that if you come from a place of service and you're providing a service to people, that you'll find it more rewarding and not just so frustrating, and not looking at it just as the transaction. And when I deal with FSBOs and expireds, I mean, I really look at the transaction and I put my foot, on their throat, and I do a hard sell because that's kind of required. Whereas with this, it's not even required, And then I ask them at the end of, because I've had, 3 listing appointments, and I always ask them at the end, are you going to be talking to anyone else? And they'll say, well, yeah, we were, but now we're not.
Yep, that's exactly what I was looking for. So it's good for people to hear that. We've certainly had other people in the past, but that's so. I mean, what we talk about it in mastery. The reason I wanted to put you on the spot is because not everybody on this call has been through that training. So if you think of that wheel, like all the burden that's on their shoulders, when they realize you're calling with the intent of actually helping and providing a real service, they're the best clients in the world, and you're the only realtor in the world or investor. Excuse me. So, thank you, Paul. I'm sharing.
Yeah, I'm glad you accidentally chimed in. Thank you. Feel free to come on our mastermind call tomorrow and share the same thing. We really appreciate it.
I will, and Chad, feel better. I'm sending good thoughts your way.
Thank you, Paul.
All right, we got good participation. Great start to the call. We got 3 more in the queue. Next up is phone number ending in 1974. You're up next.
Hey, how you doing? I just sent out my first letters last week, and I was going to start calling them up tonight and tomorrow. I just want to ask, regarding about the script that you guys have there, I never called people regarding this. I usually got like leads from attorneys for probate. So I just want to know, I know some people, I already got one person called, well, I didn't have my brother didn't have a property, and I said, sir, I'm really sorry. I said, you got to get a lot of letters like this because, it is public information. I do apologize. I won't contact you, yada, yada, yada. But I just want to know what's the best way to go about that.
Chad, are you? I know you're coughing. Are you able to role play that with him?
Yeah, I'm done.
All right. So Alex, call Chad and have that response and let him give you an example of a way to handle it.
All right, let me get that.
So, ring.
Ring. Hi, Chad. How you doing? I'm calling in reference to. I don't have the script in front of me, so I'm just trying to get it right here. So I never called anybody. So hold on a second.
Yeah, you can even be generic. Yeah, go ahead.
Just to be clear, you're just asking how do you get into the conversation, right? How do you start these?
Yeah, how do you get into the conversation? Exactly.
Are you sending mail?
I just sent my first pieces last week, and I'm going to start contacting them tonight.
All right, and your name's Alex, right?
Yep.
All right, I'll take the agent role. Ring.
Hello.
Hi, I'm trying to reach Alex.
May I ask who's calling?
Hey, Alex, my name's Chad. You might recognize my name. I sent you a letter last week, but it was over the holidays, so I waited until afterwards to follow up and reach out on the phone. Did you get my letter, or is it lost in a stack of Christmas cards?
No, I didn't get through it yet. So, what are you calling about?
Fair enough. Even better, you got me in person. So the reason I'm reaching out, we have a team of people here in Roanoke that reach out to families going through probate because we've built a team of people and a menu of solutions to help families that are in this position you're in. So we try to reach out early and make sure that you understand what's available to you here in the community and see if there's any way we could help. And a lot of times that's, the biggest problem most families have is how do we deal with, real property, bank accounts, stock portfolios. They just don't know where to start. So we try to understand your goals and problems and then give you options and solutions. So if there's one thing you could delegate right now, what would it be? Like, what's been the toughest thing for you guys so far?
Sounds great, but can I ask you, how'd you get my information?
Our part of our team, we go to the courthouse once a month, and we gather the public data, and we reach out. Like I said, we try to reach out early because we know we can make a big difference. And a lot of families will struggle for a couple of months trying to get houses cleaned out, fixed up, finding contractors, dealing with plumbers, winterizing houses. And that's stuff that we can take care of in a matter of hours, where it takes most families weeks or months. So we pull the courthouse data, and then we reach out to see if we can help. Is there anything that you guys could use a hand with?
Great. I am the executor, but the problem is like I don't know about selling the property yet. We're still debating within the family if we're going to keep it or not.
No, fair enough. I mean, that's just one part of it. Like I said, we try to focus on the overall situation and see what your challenges and needs are, and then we can put a plan in place. And some families never sell the real estate. If there is, they turn it into a rental property or give it to someone else in the family, and that's fine. It really starts with us looking at the big picture of what are all of your needs, and like real estate's obviously one thing that we help with because it's the biggest thing for most families, but we also help you make sure that any distribution to the family, at least you know your options on how to reinvest that, how to pay for college, how to avoid probate in future generations. It's kind of a comprehensive service, and it just starts with we try to start with a face-to-face conversation, understand the position you're in, and then we can go to work, and we'll give you choice, we'll give you options, and you make a choice whether you need our help or not.
Chad,
so I've got one spot on Friday at 3. It's the only appointment spot I have right now. Would you want to meet up on Friday?
Sounds great, Chad. Sounds great. Can you do 4? Well, yeah, sounds great. Damn, you're good, man. You just rolls right
Hey,
off.
I want to back up. This is I had to hold my laugh. You said the executor. That's probably not the right word to use.
I heard that too. The executionist. Yeah, right. that was funny.
So executor. So anyways, I'll kind of break down what I did, and you can go back through past role play calls and listen to this in different. I probably never do it the same way twice, but what I want you to focus on in the very beginning of the conversation is I've labeled it your probate USP, or your unique selling proposition. So everyone wants to know who the hell you are, how the hell they got you got their information, why the hell you're calling. And so what I did was I put all that information out there in a conversational format, so I defeated your objections before they could come up. So my team went to the courthouse, we gathered information, we reach out early because we know it can make a difference. So I'm disarming you before you can even get into that territory. So I put about five objection handlers out in front, so I didn't have to deal with it later. And when you get that right, these conversations are smooth as can be, and you'll find yourself like you can build rapport in under 3 minutes almost every time if you start to understand the patterns and what they want to know about you. And that was a really realistic role play. A lot of times they don't remember your letter because they haven't opened it or they got multiple letters. But they'll go back to it as soon as you get off the phone, and it will show a lot different than everybody else's letter and just reinforce the phone call. So always send the letter. But focus on those points. Like let them know, who you are, how you got their information, what you can offer, and always end with an open-ended emotional question. So if you remember the question I asked you is, if there's one thing you could delegate right now, what would that be? Or what's been the toughest thing for you guys so far? And I sidestepped your question. I know where you were going. You wanted to know how I got your cell phone number, but I'm going to keep control of the conversation, and I'm not letting you take me into that territory. So I added value after I told you my team went to the courthouse and gathered information. And then I switched gears. I changed direction on you and said, the reason we do that and the reason we reach out so early, and I completely distracted you from that question that really didn't matter anyways. You were just asking it because you didn't know what else to ask at the time. So I distracted you with value. This is why we reach out to help you at this point, and you didn't come back to it. And that's how it happens in real life. Like if you keep value coming, they'll forget the objections that they hit you with, and you can just keep rolling into a rapport building conversation.
That was pretty good, man. I really appreciate it. You're right. I'm usually, I'm good when it comes down. I usually deal a lot with investors, so it's a total different ball game, because investors, all they want to see is the bottom line. They don't get emotional. So
that's not true. You just haven't figured out how to get them emotional.
What do you mean?
Everybody has feelings. You just have to figure out how to appeal to them.
No,
you can take anyone into that territory.
I'm talking about investors in general. They don't have the same emotions like first-time home buyers or someone's going to be living in the house. That's what I'm talking about. Investors just want to see like the bottom line. You know what I mean?
They're very emotional about money. So you can do some of the same tactics.
Exactly. All right. Thank you. I'll just keep on listening if anyone else chimes in. That was really good. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for stepping up so early in your career, man.
Hey, no problem. Thank you.
Awesome, guys. We have 100 people on the call. Great turnout. And we have 2 more people in the queue. We've got room for more, guys. Just hit *6 and hit 1. In the meantime, next up is phone number ending in 9050. You're up next.
This is Michael Cecilia from St. Louis, Missouri. I'm actually an investor, and this is my first call listening in. And a lot of the questions have been answered because I haven't really made any calls, and all I hear from other investors and realtors is, "Oh man, don't make that call." They're going to jump on your case. And I guess the answer to your question that you spoke to the young lady first was the reason my why of using this lead is because you can make a difference in a family. As long as you're showing them how you can make a difference with them and that goes straight into the property, I think 9 out of 10 times you're gonna be okay. They might not want your business as far as me as an investor, but they'll, as long as you're compassionate and you're focusing on their issues and concerns, that I should be fine on these calls. You answered first is to send out the letter first before you make any phone calls. Now, what's a typical good time as far as length of time to follow up with a mailing, with a phone call? Is it 7 to 10 days, you think, or?
No, we try to time it within a day or two. So a typical campaign sequence is letter, like give it 2 or 3 business days, and then phone call.
Okay.
So that way you're hitting, it's they're working in tandem. So a lot of folks almost everybody is gonna open your letter because we're sending it in a greeting card envelope with a hand address and a live stamp. So almost everybody will open it, but they're not gonna just pick up the phone and call you. Now some will. That obviously happens. But what we find is having sent the letter, the phone calls are so much easier because the letters do look different. Because every other investor is sending we buy houses, we'll pay a price that's fair to you and close on your timeline. It's all the same message. Everybody's teaching the same stuff, right?
Or an ugly yellow letter. Ugly yellow letter is common
right.
too with investors. Yeah.
And whether it's investor or realtor, you don't have to change very much in your letter, and you shouldn't change anything in the phone conversation. Focus on people and situation, segue into real estate, and then determine if real estate has equity, whether you're going to list it or buy it. And every conversation should happen the same way, regardless of how you monetize it, what your end game is. And that will get your foot in the door every time, where every other investor is going to go straight for the house conversation. And they're going to piss people off because they're not appealing to those emotions, raw emotions. When you call and say, hey, we bought 100 houses in St. Louis in the last year, and we're the best damn investors. We offer fair prices. We close quick. They don't care about any of that. What they care about is they hurt. And they've got a lot of responsibility that they didn't expect. So your mindset's in the right place. And just focus on that, like people and situation, then houses, and you'll have no problem.
Mike,
yes.
I'm assuming do you have a realtor on your team or a realtor?
Yeah. I actually have 2 realtors, so the plan's already. Hey, it's going to be a win no matter what, because if the person there's no equity or the person's not interested in that and they want to solicit with the realtor, then I just hand them off to one of my 2 realtors.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Area.
I was a realtor and an investor. A very smart person told me at the beginning of my career, figure out what everybody else is doing and do the opposite. Like Chad said, if you tell these people that, if you call and tell them be honest with them about what the house is worth, and maybe tell them, hey, if you're not in a big hurry, you should go with a realtor. I promise you're the only investor doing that. I had a number of people that I told them, you could get a lot more and I told them the honest value, and they call me back a few days later and say, no, we need to sell quick. And the only reason we called you is everybody else was kind of lying to us about what it was worth. You told us the truth. So take that overall approach of what's best for them, and you'll be pleasantly surprised how well it works out for you in the long run. So it sounds like you already have that attitude.
Well, I think like you said, you might not get that one, but if someone that you're speaking to has someone that passed away, they'll be like, hey, you need to call this guy. He'll be honest and help you through the process like he did with us.
100%. Yes, sir. All right. Excellent.
I do have one real quick question. I haven't been on the website or anything yet. I'm assuming that's where you would get the copies of the letters and stuff, the process. I haven't gone through anything yet.
When you log in, you'll see what's called fast track training. And it's 3 videos that last about 45 minutes, and it'll walk you through everything on the site and show you where to find that stuff.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Michael. Come back tomorrow, please, on our role play call. Also, we have 3 more in the queue, and that'll probably take us up pretty close to the hour. We do have time for 1 or 2 more. Just hit *6 and then hit 1. In the meantime, next up is phone number ending in 1476. You're up next.
Hey, Chad. This is Maggie. How are you today?
Hey, Maggie. I'm good. How about you?
Wonderful. So I've taken a couple of training sessions, and I've also received my certification for probate expert. But I've been distracted, a lot of year-end stuff and other things, and I just haven't followed up. My desire is to focus on the attorneys, get in to see the attorneys. And I remember on one of the calls you mentioned that there was a brochure that we could put together that I could use to kind of give them something to hand out or make them feel more comfortable in talking to me. So the first question is, how do I re-engage myself with attorneys? And two, where do I get that brochure?
Okay, I'll answer
Chad, if you don't mind, maybe you could put the second part of it in the form of a role play, like you're calling the attorney or stopping by their office, just to keep in the spirit of role playing, if you don't mind. Go ahead.
Sure. So when you're in Subscriber Portal, to answer your second question, in Subscriber Portal, look under Mailbox Motivator, Mailing Campaign Setup, I believe it is, and you'll see there's two tabs, one for letters and one for brochures and postcards. You can see probably a half a dozen sample brochures there. We can basically do anything you would like. I would say that we probably have, at this point, 50 different trifold brochures that you could choose from. But you can get a look at them there. And then if you email support@alltheleads.com and you just put, brochure samples or something in the subject line, Alyssa can get you, Alyssa will work with you and make sure you get exactly what you want. So we can, change the graphics, change the colors, change the copy, until you got something you're proud of.
So I want to be able to drop by.
What's that?
Yeah, so I want to be able to drop by an attorney's office and, do a pop-by just to maybe meet the person in charge or who's his right-hand person. So how do I kind of do that?
Right, and that's where I was. So we found that face-to-face is by far the best way. The same points that I recommended to the previous, defeat their objections ahead of time. So attorneys think realtors are a pain in the ass. They think that it's going to be like the last deal. Once it's under contract, you're going to be calling every day asking about your commission because you've got a kid in college and all of a sudden lacrosse, you have to buy a new lacrosse uniform and da-da-da-da-da. Because attorneys have, what we find is a lot of them expect that because that's been their past experience. So when you approach the attorneys, you need to help them understand that you have a real service and you're not going to need a babysitter. And what you're doing is actually complementing and expediting what they're responsible for doing. And once they understand that you really empathetically understand what the family's going through, you understand what they're going through, and you provide value in the middle of those two roles, then they will latch onto you and you'll be the only realtor in town. So you can approach them, we can role play it like you've gotten past the gatekeeper, but with the gatekeeper, it's typically a receptionist. You're going to come in and say, listen, my name's Chad. I've built a team of professionals here locally to help families going through probate. And as part of that, we go to the courthouse once a month, and we've noticed your firm, and more specifically, Jane Doe, is handling a lot of the same cases for the families we're helping. So really just wanted to introduce myself, let you guys know that our team's now here in the community, and I think you're really going to be surprised how much we can help you and your clients. Would Jane Doe be available for just 5 minutes? And when they let you through, then you start the conversation with Jane Doe. Now, that's the simplest approach. If you really want to knock it out of the park, go find family law attorneys that do estate planning. Go back and reach out, email and phone to every past client you've ever had, buy side, sell side. If you've ever gotten someone into a piece of real estate, you need to call them and offer them, just say, listen, I'm stepping up my game in 2019. I really want to provide a higher level of service. And one of the things that I've noticed I've never done for my clients is to make sure that that their estate is protected. And I help families get into the largest asset purchase of their life, but I've yet to help them protect that for the next generation. And that's something that I'm committed to doing this year. Would you like to sit down with our estate planning team for a free consultation? And probably half of them will say yes. The other half will be afraid to think about or talk about their own demise. But the ones that step up are A-plus referrals, and it's a great way for you to open that conversation with that attorney. Hey, I've got 50 clients that would like to sit down with an estate planning professional, and I'm looking for a professional partner that can provide the same level of service they're used to. Would you have 5 minutes to talk about that? And then you find yourself sitting with the attorney, handing him live A-plus referrals. Naturally, the conversation is going to segue into, whoa, what else, how did you, here's how I found out about you, or this is what else we do. So if you really want to get their attention, go bring them a bunch of referrals and open the door with value. If you don't have a bunch of past clients, or you want something that you can implement tomorrow, then just step up and still go do it, and just show them how your business complements theirs. And we can role play it some more if you need to. I know I did. That was just one way, but that's my advice on attorneys.
That was very helpful. You mentioned bringing a group or a team to talk to you about estate planning. So should that only be the attorney and the agent, or should there be a financial or insurance person in there?
Yeah, so I prefer, like my team for that is a registered investment advisor, or an RIA. And that's simply a financial advisor that holds himself to a higher standard. So they have a fiduciary responsibility to all clients. So I have an RIA who knows the family law attorney. So they work in, they were already a team, and I basically just added them to the team. So if the attorney can't answer a financial question, they can kick them over to someone they know and trust, and they know that referral is not going to go to someone else, and vice versa. If there's legal questions that the financial guy can't answer, he can rely on the attorney. And actually, I have kind of the trifecta. So my RIA, my really good attorney, real estate attorney, and the estate planning attorney are all three, and the CPA. We kind of all four consider ourselves part of the same team in probate and everything else. So yeah, the more of those people you can connect together, the smoother this is going to be, and the higher level of service you can provide. So if you do meet, an estate planning attorney that you love, and they don't know your investment advisor, put them together. Like, everybody go to lunch and get to know each other, and get your guns pointed in the same direction. You're all gonna win from it, and you'll all get more referrals. Okay. So that's been very helpful. I appreciate that. So getting in past the gatekeeper, should I take a gift to I don't know if it's the receptionist or the paralegal? I mean, who should I really focus on when I go there? Do I ask for the paralegal, or do I just talk to the receptionist? So if you listen to Mastermind, actually the role play call from December, if you go back to role play number 37, there's an ISA in the Richmond area, Sam Bingham, and Sam has started approaching, and attorneys don't even participate in probate that much in my market and her market. Like, we're one of the rare markets where people just don't use attorneys for probate. But she built a list of family law attorneys and she went to a local bakery, and she took local bakery Christmas cookies and opened the conversation with that, and she had an incredibly good reception. So that was just one idea. I mean, you can, just find something that for under $5, it's low cost, high impact that you can drop by with. And the trifold brochures are a great leave behind, and we can, by the end of this week, we should be able to have by the beginning of next week, we can have them in your hands. So go ahead and get that taken care of, and then, this time next week, you'll be ready to roll.
Okay, sounds great.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Thanks so much for participating. We have 3 more in the queue, guys, and that should take us up nicely to the top of the hour. The next up is phone number ending in 8844. You're up next.
Hello, this is Arthur from Rhode Island. My question really has to do with, I'm an investor, not a real estate agent. I do have real estate agents on the team. So my question is, if I get to the point in the phone conversation where someone is likely going to list with a realtor, would I then send my real estate agent or one of them to that listing, or would I want to go and meet them myself and, I don't know, get some letter of intent signed to then hand them to an agent? I'm not sure exactly how to handle that as an investor when it's going to go to a real estate agent.
So the best answer is intuition, and we'll jump in and role play this. So I think it's important to understand you're not labeling yourself an investor when you start this conversation. And I learned this the hard way myself going in as an investor, and then when I realized there wasn't enough equity or motivation that listing was their best solution, I tried to change hats, and I shattered rapport every time. Then I had my buddy who's an investor go in first and then refer them to me as the realtor, and we broke rapport every time. I don't know that we ever – actually we did 2 deals that way in a year of dozens and dozens of referrals. They just fell apart in the handoff. So what I learned was effective is you don't label yourself. You do label yourself, but not as a realtor, not as an investor. You can use a kind of a generic statement of, we've built a team of professionals here locally to help families in probate. If you've had probate mastery and you're certified, that's when people say, my name's Chad, I'm a certified probate expert, and we have a team of local professionals specifically to help in your situation. But find a different label for yourself. That way you don't, what I found is when you kind of when you step back from it, and you stay away from the labels and you focus on people and situation, it'll come out in the conversation. I mean, you know, the last house you bought, I bet you knew in the first 2 minutes you were going to buy that house, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So you know when you can buy a house, and you know when you should list a house. You don't have to get that far down the road where you put a number on the table, they hate you, and then they won't call your referral agent. And that's where we screwed up all the time. Mike would go ahead and make the offer, and then when they flinched and said no, he's like, okay, great. Well, our real estate, and then he would try to hand it off to me, and they wouldn't answer my phone calls. So I got the reputation they attached to Michael because they didn't like his number. So try not to make offers before the appointment. But if I don't ever make offers over the phone, and I know that it can be done. It's a numbers game. But if you're in town and you don't mind going on the appointments, if you feel like there's a chance, if you feel that motivation there, that if they feel like if you feel like a cash offer is in their best interest and they're going to go for that price, then show up and make that offer. And you can bring the realtor with you, or you can say, well, listen, Joe was going to come with me, but he couldn't make it today. Would it be okay if he stops by, if he calls you in 2 hours? But if you feel that, I guess what I'm saying to be more concise, if you don't think, if there's not at least an 80% chance you can buy that house, don't make the offer, and go send the referral to your agent and just let them know, listen, if they're getting more motivated, you need to let me know, and I want to be the first offer. So, or you could even, as soon as it's listed, you could make the offer and just have the agent hold that, so they know they've got that as a fallback. But we can jump in and role play, and you can take it wherever you want to, and I'll show you how I would do it in my case.
Yeah, okay. I'll try it.
What was your name?
Arthur.
Arthur. So ring.
Hello.
Hi, I'm trying to reach Arthur.
Yeah, this is he.
Hey, Arthur, my name's Chad Corbett. I sent you a letter last week, but during the holidays I didn't have a chance to call, and today I had a few minutes to follow up. Just wanted to make sure you got that and you understood why we sent it.
Yeah, I did see that letter. Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So,
and you understand what it is we do and why we reached out?
yeah, you guys offered service that might help me through this whole probate thing.
Yep. So we've built a team of professionals here in town that are focused specifically on probably what's your biggest problem right now. We've learned that, families going through probate oftentimes don't know where to start or where to finish or which way's up early in the process. So we try to reach out early because we know that the sooner we get involved, the quicker we can turn your mountain into a molehill. What's been the toughest thing for you guys so far?
Well, I guess, we're trying to figure out what to do with the house, really.
That's where I would say 95% of families, that's the biggest struggle. And oftentimes, most families will wait 2 or 3 months and do nothing because it's so stressful. And a lot of times that ends up costing them a lot of money and the properties get in worse condition. So I'm actually glad I caught you today. Listen, let me ask you one thing. So you're the executor. Are there any co-executors or who else do you feel like should be part of the discussion?
Yeah, well, I'm the executor, but my sister's kind of in it with me, so it's really she and I.
Okay.
And we're not arguing or anything. We're both on the same page. We just don't really know, what to do with it.
Yeah, completely understand. Do you guys? So I've got a spot on Friday around 1:00. Would you guys be able to meet up and we'll kind of talk about what your challenges are and I'll kind of present some options to you?
Yeah, that would be good. Now, so like, would you list the house or like I've seen those signs on the road where we buy cash and all that.
Well, it's really, that question's really for you to answer, not me. We're gonna focus on your overall situation. Look at what are your challenges, what are your goals, and then that'll help me determine who I can bring in to help. And maybe we'll list the house, maybe we'll make you an offer and take the house, maybe we'll transition it into a rental property for the family so you can preserve that legacy. It's really up to you. So once we understand what your needs are, then we can provide some options and you can make a choice and we'll help you through all the way to the end. So, are you guys leaning in any direction? Does anyone from the family want the property? Have you talked about it?
Well, we kind of just started the conversation. So, I guess if you can help us figure out which way to go, that would be good. My sister did mention rental, but I think it's a big headache and probably would rather just sell it. Yeah, I guess we.
And are there? So we see a lot. Every one of these is like a thumbprint. So is there any debt on the property that you're aware of, or is there a net figure that you have to get to that we should be aware of?
Well, the property it's probably worth $250, and it's like halfway paid right now. It's right in the middle there.
Okay.
So that's kind of where it stands.
And is the estate making the mortgage payments? Is it current?
It is current. Yeah.
Okay. So you guys don't. You're not feeling a lot of pressure. You don't need to blow it out next week, right?
That's right. We've picked up the payments now, but we sure don't want to keep making them if we'd like to. That's why that's been the thing we want to deal with is this house because we don't want to keep making these payments
right.
for
so
very
assuming
long.
Assuming our service will take care of all the little ins and outs, and you had a magic wand, like what day would you guys be closing and have this behind you? Like if you could choose, would it be in the next week, the next 30 days, the next 60 days? Tell me more about like what your goals are.
Well, my sister may be more patient than me, but if this house thing could be done in 30 days, that would be great by me.
Okay, perfect. And what kind of condition? Like, walk me in as a buyer. Like, think about, if you were buying this house for your own family, walk in the front door and what has to be done? Like, are there major repairs or minor updates, or is it ready to go?
Well, yeah, I mean, Mom was living there, and but we kept the place maintained, and she did pretty good up until the end there. I mean, I'm sure it could use maybe a brightening up, so to speak, but there's nothing major wrong with the place.
Okay. Well, I mean, you've got a couple of options. I mean, we can certainly bring you a cash offer and close as soon as title comes back, which sometimes can be a matter of 48 hours. It doesn't sound to me that I mean, typically that's going to come it's going to be a discounted price. Alternatively, we can use our brokerage division and put it on MLS, even if that's as is, where is, not making any repairs, not accepting any contingencies. We can typically sell for a little more that way than we could through our cash buyers. I mean, I guess what I'm asking is just so I can do the right homework, what is more important to you at this point, to the family? Is it time or money? Like getting it done in 30 days or getting the most equity out of the property?
I'd have to talk to my sister about that. I mean, we're both comfortable. I don't know that, we need money right away, but I guess getting a decent price for the house. It's like I said, it's not like in terrible shape or anything.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think the best place to start is if me, you, and your sister can sit down and talk about this together, so she doesn't feel left out. And then we'll see. I mean, if you guys share common goals, we're gonna lay the choices out in front of you. And then you guys can pick whatever's best for you. So is Friday at 1 a good time to do that?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
right,
we can meet then.
So I'll put that down, and you'll call your sister ready for this and let her know we're meeting at the house.
Yeah, I can reach out to her. That should be fine.
Perfect. And if have you got a couple more minutes, I can ask you a few questions about the property so I can do my homework?
Yeah, sure. Okay,
and I'll break there. So based on what I hear from you, I think that your sister is probably going to pull this into an as-is listing on MLS. I doubt that I'm going to buy this house. But because of the apprehension you were showing me, I'm showing up with a contract and a listing, a purchase agreement and a listing agreement, because I'm not sure yet. But when I get you in front of her and I go back through what I just took you through, target date, motivation to sell, time more important or money more important, based on how you answer those questions, I'll know if I'm going down the listing path or down the acquisition path. So in this case, what I might do, and I didn't bring it up in the conversation, I may actually just show up with my investor. Since you are the investor, you may show up with your realtor. And then you could say, listen, based on our research and everything we talked about, I wasn't sure exactly what you guys would think was the best service. So I brought Joe along because he handles our brokerage side and I handle our acquisition side. So show us around. Let's see the place. And then you guys can kind of get a feel for it. That way you're really nimble in that situation because you're both sitting there. You've got both pieces of paperwork wherever it goes. Now, if he couldn't come with you on the appointment, I would do my homework, look at it. If they owe 125 and they're willing and you're willing to pay 175, you think it'll go for 200 on MLS. You may just kick it over to Joe and say, hey, Joe, listen, I've got an appointment for Friday at 1 o'clock. I think there's an 80% chance they're going to list as is, where is. If you could go on the appointment, and if you detect a higher level of motivation, just call me. I'll be on standby. I'll show up, look at the house, and write an offer on site. And if you have a realtor partner that you can trust to do that, like if they're consistent with your methodology, that will work. And you won't have to worry about breaking rapport. Like you can kind of you can approach it as a team.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, great. One follow-up, thank you. too. So I get the purchase and sale and showing up for the cash offer. Now, I have no experience with a listing agreement document. As as a non-realtor, can I get a hold of one of those documents and have it filled out?
You don't want that liability. You don't want to do that. So,
okay.
I mean, in this day and age, the realtor you're partnered with should use DocuSign, and they should be able to fire off a listing agreement in under 1 minute. So, realistically, they can pre-fill it from the GIS and fire it off in less than 5 minutes. So if you're sitting there at the table, you can say, okay, guys, let me text Joe right now and just say, Joe, 123 Walnut Street, fill it in with GIS data and send it over. And I mean, he could, while you're sitting there talking, he should be able to have a listing agreement in their hands.
Gotcha. Great. Okay.
But I wouldn't ever recommend, if you don't have a license, don't be handling state paperwork. You're just asking for trouble.
Okay. Yeah, great. Super.
All right. Hey, great, Chad, great job. But Arthur, that was a very realistic portrayal on the seller's end, too. I think you covered a lot of territory. Good job. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right. We got 3 more, guys. We're going to try to get through these in the next 10 minutes. Next up is phone number ending in 2649. You're up next.
Hi. So I just have a couple questions, actually, about your company, basically. So the first one would be, what format would you suggest using? I know you guys have first a letter and then a phone call, but is it 1 letter or 2 letters, or how does that work?
Sure.
We recommend a minimum of 3 letters spread over 90 days, and each one followed by a phone call. So letter 1, phone call 1, wait 30 days. Letter 2, phone call 2, wait 30 days, and then the final step. Now, that's a minimum. We also provide digital marketing services, ISA services. You can be, the more aggressive you are, the more conversations you're going to have, no different than any other prospecting. So, with digital marketing, we're getting you as many as 13 impressions per day, which just increases the likelihood they're going to recognize your name on the letter or on the voicemail or on the phone call. So you can, at a very minimum, we recommend 3 letters, each followed by a phone call. But if you have the budget and the bandwidth, throw in digital marketing. You get a website. All these things, they give you more brand impressions and more credibility. So you can be as aggressive as you want to be, and you can market for as much. With the digital marketing, we're going to go back 12 months and you're the last 12 months worth of leads, and we'll market to them anywhere from 30 days to 12 months. So you literally will be on their mobile device, on their desktop, everywhere they go for the next year, just with the digital marketing.
Okay.
And the nature of the mail pieces we send, they tend to stick around, even if they get opened and they don't call you right now. Typically, because it's a greeting card envelope and the letter's so much different, they tend to stick around. So you'll start to get, in 6, 8, 9 months, you'll start to get come list me calls or come buy this thing calls, even when you've long forgotten about marketing to that list.
Oh, okay. And then I know you guys, you will send out letters. Is that correct?
Yeah, we have a completely automated mail system. So you come in, you set up your letters, click autopilot, and never think about it again. Every subsequent month, we'll execute the campaign as you laid it out.
Okay, and how much does that cost?
A letter is $1.50, and a phone call from our ISA is $2.50 to call all 4 numbers and leave voicemail. Digital marketing starts at $150 a month and goes all the way up to $1,000, depending on how aggressive you want to be.
Okay. And then one more question is, what is your estimated capture rate? Say you send out 100 letters, how many typically will turn into something?
It really depends on how good of a salesperson you are, to be honest. So, direct mail is going to get 0.5% to 1% inbound response. But if you jump on the phones and supplement that mailing with a round of phone calls, you'll probably get a 2 to 3% response. You'll be talking to more people. And it really boils down to how confident you are in your offer. that your offer is really valuable to your prospect. And like, so we have some people that convert at 50 to 60% month in and month out. And we have other people that never ever get a single phone call. And if you go all the way back to the beginning of this call, what Paula and I were talking about, like when you're clear on why you're doing this, you're clear on your offer, you're proud of that, then your conversion rate should be north of 2% every month. When you're not, then you're not clear on what you're offering or what you're going to say or what they're actually going through. That's when people struggle.
Okay. Okay. That's everything. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Next up is phone number ending in 5842. You're up next.
Yeah, hi, this is Becky Chan. How are you? Just took your course.
Hey, Vicki. Welcome.
How you doing? Yeah, thank you. So I had a question for you. I obviously my county wasn't ready. They said it'd be ready until 22 of January. But I've been doing. I'm a realtor. And mainly doing investments. And the question was that somebody called me regarding a mailing that I did, and sounded like a probate question, but she wouldn't tell me any information. She just called me up, answering my postcard, and she basically said, "I'm the daughter of so and so for 104 West Street, and I got the postcard. I want to know, what do you do?" So I told them that I'm a cash buyer and so on and so on. And I tried to get an appointment, and she's like, "Well, I have to discuss it with my sibling and get back to you." It sounded like a probate, but I'm not 100% sure. And I wanted to call him back. That was before the holidays, and I was just wondering what would I say? I don't know if I should assume it's probate or not, but it sounded like a probate. So I was just wondering what kind of conversation I could have with her when I call back.
Okay. So she was just trying to figure out who you were and why you sent her a letter in the first place, right?
Right.
And then how long did the conversation last? Just a couple minutes?
Yeah. A few minutes, yeah.
Okay.
She was in a rush to hang up. She didn't let me talk further.
All right. That's hopefully enough context. So,
Chad,
go
ahead.
I'll call you back. So, ring.
Hi.
Hi, is this Vicki?
Yes, Vicki.
Hey, Vicki, this is Chad. We talked a week or so ago before the holidays. You remember me?
No, I don't.
Oh, you had actually called. We sent you a letter about helping your family with the probate, and you and I spoke briefly a couple of weeks ago.
Sorry, I don't recall.
Okay. You must have talked to a lot of people that you don't know in the last couple of weeks, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, the reason I'm reaching out and the reason I sent you a letter
the reason I'm breaking this because she didn't ask me any information, so I doubt she remember any of that. So that's why I have to start from the beginning.
Yeah, that's fine. Just roll with it. I can deal with it. So the reason I'm reaching out and the reason we sent the letter is we have a team of professionals here locally that help families going through probate. And now that we're kind of clear of the holidays, I just wanted to follow up and make sure I understand your situation and see if there's any way that we might be able to help. What's been the toughest thing for you guys so far?
Yeah, so we have this property, and my siblings and I are trying to decide what to do with it.
Yep. And have you made a decision? Are you lost like most families? Not sure what to do, where to start?
So yeah, it seems like we're not all together, so we need to we need to discuss it to see what we want to do. So I need to get back to you, what you decided to do.
Sure. Well, like I said, the reason we reach out early, even when it is during the holidays, is we see a lot of families struggle through this for a month or two or three or even longer because they just can't. They don't know what steps to take first. So, for example, is the home vacant?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And has it been vacant for more than 30 days?
Probably.
So there's a 99.9% chance that there's actually no insurance on it. So if it were to burn down tonight, you guys would lose everything. And that's one of the first things we do. Whether you've made your mind up, whether you're going to keep it, rent it, sell it, we try to meet early so you guys understand your exposure, and our service is designed to really help you through everything that the attorney is not going to help you with. And a lot of families think, well, we'll just sit here and wait for the attorney to tell us what to do. But the attorney's only going to handle the legal aspects. The rest of it's on your shoulders. So our service is really meant to bridge the gap between what the legal responsibilities are and what you've done so far, and we kind of cover everything in the middle. So if you guys would like, it starts with a face-to-face conversation. The better we know you and understand your challenges, the quicker we can jump in and help. So I can certainly call you back in a couple of weeks after you guys struggle through this, but I would much rather struggle through it with you because it's going to be a lot simpler for my team to handle than your family. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
So would Friday be a good time to have that conversation?
Yeah, sounds good, except that my siblings are not around. They live in different
That's
states.
okay. That's okay. Do they use email?
Yes.
And are they pretty tech savvy? Does everybody have a laptop or a tablet?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Well, you and I can meet, and we'll just throw together a quick Zoom meeting so they can meet me and see me, and anything that we're looking at on the table, they can have right in front of them on their tablet. Would that work?
Yes. Sounds good. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Well, we'll do that. If you could do me a favor, so is 3 o'clock okay? 3 o'clock Friday?
Yes. Sounds good.
All right. And you'll call them and confirm?
Sounds good. Yes, I will.
Okay. And I'm just going to act like I'll get their email addresses so I can put them on the Zoom meeting. That way I've got their phone number and email address. And then I'll break there. The next thing I would do is lead you into the real estate conversation. So real quick before you go, can I ask you a few questions so I can do my homework? And then I'll take you through the real estate conversation, the finance conversation, the personal property, and then I'll wrap it up and confirm the appointment. And in 10 minutes, you're going to think I'm the only damn real estate professional in the world.
Well, anybody who buys from you, it sounds great. I don't know if I could sound like you.
What's
Is
that?
there anywhere? I said anybody is going to buy from you because you sound great. We need to practice with. I need to practice with the way you say it.
I started in the same place you are.
But let me ask something. I know that you have like a quick, like an interview question. Is there any script, the way you say it? I know I shouldn't be copying exactly word to word, but I'm just saying something similar because there's a lot of things that you mentioned that is not in the script that you guys offer.
Right, and that's why we don't offer. There's so many ways these conversations can go that you can get off script in the first 5 seconds, and I feel like that's handicapping you. So I would much rather teach you kind of a framework of what information you need and why, and then you'll find out how to get it in your own words using your own questions. So the best thing I can point you to, go to, in the fast track training video number 3, there's a download called the Probate Seller Interview Sheet. And that's going to give you kind of a template, like a roadmap, so you'll know which information to gather and in what order. Go to our past role play calls, and you can do that on Facebook, or you can do it from Subscriber Portal, and sit there with that Probate Seller Interview Sheet and listen to some of these initial conversations. And if you use the search bar on alltheleads.com in the top right, if you type in initial conversation, that'll bring up all the role plays where we role played the very first conversation. And just listen to some of those, and you'll hear me do it 24 different ways. But the structure is always the same. The words might be different, but I'm doing certain things in a certain order as I go through it. And if you notice, 99% of the time, I'll keep the real estate at arm's length until I've earned that part. I've earned that in the conversation. When I have rapport and you're responding to me, and I ask a question and you immediately reply, then I know that I can talk about real estate. But until then, we're focused on people and situation. And then when I feel like you've warmed up and we've got good two-way dialogue, then I'll go into real estate, but not until then.
I see.
All right. Thank you, Rebecca. We're running overtime today, guys, but I have a hard time leaving anybody unattended. So we have one more person in the queue. Dennis, is it real quick, or do you want to come back tomorrow and talk about it on the mastermind call? It's up to you.
It's a semantics question, as a matter of fact.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. No pressure. Go ahead, sir.
This is Dennis Malonis over here in Fort Walton. Anyhow,
yes, sir.
I had a call from another agent that just, I guess, working with a couple that may have gotten one of our letters. Well, I know they got the letters because they called the agent up, and the agent kind of pretty much stressed the guy a little bit because it says, remember, you do not have to wait until the probate is completed to sell the property. You don't have to do it all yourself. He felt that was misleading. That you can't sell the property.
It's not in Florida. You get the house. Once they have the letters of testamentary, they have the authority to list the property and to sign a purchase agreement. Now, it still has to go to court to be approved, but in the state of Florida, it's a pretty simple process, and there's no overbid or anything. So
I've done it.
It's not misleading. I mean, it's true. Now, his ignorance is his problem. But
Thank you.
You didn't say anything wrong.
I'm not gonna change the dialogue of these letters because of that. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Now you answered.
All right. Thank you.
That just tells you that your competition is ignorant. So your job's easier.
Yeah, you're right. I appreciate that, guys. All right.
Guys, thank you. We had at one point we had 105 people on the call. Great participation. We still got about 90, so appreciate y'all staying to the end. Great first call of the year. Great situation. Some good questions. Good role plays. I always like to end these calls the same way. I want to challenge all of you. Take one thing, one idea, one thing that inspired you on today's call. Go out and put it into practice and come back tomorrow or any Thursday and share it with the group. We'll talk to you all same time tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern. Thank you so much, guys. Make it a great rest of the day, and we will talk to you tomorrow.